A white officer on the lake decides that a young black woman can't possibly have a legal right to a luxury yacht. But in just a few minutes, he'll face unexpected consequences. The shimmering surface of Lake Arbor glistened in the afternoon sun, creating a picturesque scene of nature and leisure. Known for its calm waters and elegant yachts, the lake was a weekend haven for the affluent, a place where the wealthy gathered to relax and enjoy life's luxuries. In the midst of this grandeur, a sleek yacht cut gracefully through the water, its polished white hull glistening under the sun. From the deck, a young woman, Jasmine Rivers, smiled as the breeze played with her dark curls. Jasmine was celebrating a monumental achievement, acceptance into her dream university. She had rented the yacht to mark the day, and the celebration felt like a well-deserved reward after years of sacrifice and determination. For Jasmine, this was more than just a celebration. It was a symbol of the progress she had made against all odds. Especially in a world where people often underestimated her. Raised in a family that encouraged her dreams, she had worked hard, juggling rigorous academics, extracurricular activities, and part-time jobs, all while navigating a world that didn't always welcome her with open arms. Her success was not just hers, it was a testament to her family's unyielding support. Especially her Uncle Ben, a well-respected yachtsman in the area. Uncle Ben had arranged the yacht rental to celebrate Jasmine's achievement. He had always been more than family. He was a mentor who had instilled in her values of resilience and self-worth, teaching her to navigate life's challenges with dignity and strength. As she steered the yacht, Jasmine felt a deep sense of gratitude. The calm of the lake and the pride of her achievement mingled into a perfect moment. Her phone buzzed with messages from friends who were excited to join her soon. And as she took in the beauty of the surroundings, she snapped a few photos to capture the memory. She posted one to social media with the caption, "Celebrating dreams come true," with a few heart emojis and a simple message of gratitude. For now, she allowed herself to soak in the quiet pride of her accomplishment. Just as Jasmine was beginning to relax, she noticed a patrol boat in the distance. The officer on board seemed to be approaching her yacht, and her sense of peace gave way to unease. Shrugging off the initial discomfort, she assumed it was a routine check. But as the patrol boat drew closer, the officer's demeanor seemed less than friendly. The badge on his chest read Officer Malone, and he bore a look of authority as he called out to her. "Ma'am, cut the engine and prepare for inspection." Jasmine's heart sank. She complied, cutting the engine and stepping toward the deck to meet him. "Is there a problem, officer?" she asked, keeping her voice steady though she felt a knot of tension in her stomach. Malone surveyed the yacht, his gaze scanning over the polished decks, the lounge chairs, and finally landing on Jasmine herself. "Who owns this yacht?" he asked, his tone leaving no room for friendliness. "And what exactly are you doing out here?" Jasmine's face remained calm, though his abruptness was unsettling. "I rented the yacht for the day," she explained, gesturing to the paperwork tucked away inside. "I'm celebrating getting into college. My Uncle Ben helped with the rental arrangements. He's well known in the local boating community." She spoke clearly, hoping to alleviate any doubts. But Officer Malone's expression didn't soften. "Rented, huh?" he repeated, his skepticism evident. "From your uncle, you say?" he added, his voice dripping with disbelief. "Yes," Jasmine replied, doing her best to keep her voice even. "I can give you his contact information if you'd like to verify." Instead of taking her offer, Malone crossed his arms, his stance unyielding. "I've been patrolling this lake for years," he said, casting her a hard look. "And I've never seen anyone like you out here on a boat like this. For all I know, this yacht could be stolen." The implication in his words was clear, and it stung. Trying to maintain her composure, Jasmine responded, "I have the rental papers in the cabin if you'd like to check." "Stay here," Malone ordered, his tone firm. "I'll check it myself." As he disappeared into the cabin, Jasmine stood there, her calm exterior hiding a swirl of emotions. She had done everything right, provided her paperwork, complied with his orders, and even offered additional verification. Yet she felt like she was being treated as if she had no right to be there. Minutes passed before Malone re-emerged, holding the documents but still looking unsatisfied. "These papers don't mean much," he said dismissively. "They could be forged. I'll need more than this to be convinced." "What more do you want?" Jasmine asked, frustration seeping into her voice despite her attempts to stay calm. "Watch your tone, young lady," he replied coldly. "If you have nothing to hide, you won't mind a little investigation." Jasmine's heart sank as he reached for his radio. "Dispatch. This is Officer Malone," he said, requesting backup for a possible investigation on a suspicious yacht at Lake Arbor. "What is there to investigate?" Jasmine protested. "I've shown you the paperwork. I told you my uncle's name. You're making a big deal out of nothing." Malone ignored her, and within moments, another patrol boat arrived. The backup officer, Officer Grayson, climbed aboard, eyeing Jasmine and the yacht with the same suspicion. "We need to make sure everything checks out," Grayson said, addressing Malone. "Better to be safe than sorry." Jasmine's frustration boiled over. "This is ridiculous. I've done nothing wrong, and I've given you every bit of information you've asked for." Her protests fell on deaf ears, and Officer Malone stepped forward with a grim look. "Look, miss, either you cooperate, or we'll have to take you in for questioning. You're not making this easy." But just as Jasmine was about to respond, a familiar voice cut through the tense silence. "Excuse me, officers, what's going on here?" The officers turned, and Jasmine's heart lifted when she saw her Uncle Ben stepping onto the deck. Dressed in his boating gear, he had an unmistakable air of authority. He glared at the officers, his eyes blazing. "What are you doing with my niece?" he demanded. "And why are you treating her like a criminal?" Officer Malone looked taken aback. "Sir, this is a routine investigation," he said, though his tone had lost its earlier certainty. "Routine investigation?" Ben echoed, incredulous. "She's shown you the rental agreement. I arranged this rental myself. Instead of verifying it with a simple call, you've chosen to harass her." The officers exchanged a tense glance, sensing they were losing control of the situation. The murmurs from nearby boats had grown louder, and onlookers were filming the confrontation. Ben's commanding tone and the weight of public scrutiny seemed to unnerve them. We were just doing our job, sir," Officer Grayson stammered, trying to make sure everything was in order. "You could have done that without treating her like a suspect." Ben shot back. "And what exactly made you assume she didn't belong here?" The crowd, now visibly displeased, voiced their agreement. Someone called out, "Let her go. She's done nothing wrong." Others nodded in solidarity. Under the weight of the crowd's judgment, Malone and Grayson looked increasingly uncomfortable. Malone muttered, "Maybe we overreacted," though the words barely held conviction. Ben's gaze remained steely. "Overreacted? You're abusing your authority. This is not how you serve and protect." Jasmine, finding her voice, stepped forward. "I've done everything you asked. And it didn't matter. You assumed the worst from the start." Malone looked down, avoiding her gaze. The community's outrage was clear. And finally, with a reluctant sigh, he muttered, I'm sorry." Jasmine gave him a firm look. "Your apology isn't enough. You need to understand why this was wrong. If you can't see that, you have no business being on this lake, protecting people." As the officers returned to their boat, their faces flushed with embarrassment, Jasmine felt the weight of what had happened lift slightly. Her uncle turned to her, placing a supportive hand on her shoulder. "You handled yourself well, Jasmine. You shouldn't have had to. But you did." As they walked away, onlookers approached, expressing their outrage and offering their support. That evening, Jasmine and Ben sat around the kitchen table, reflecting on what had happened. "I'm so proud of you," Ben said, his voice soft. "You didn't let them break you. You stood up for yourself and reminded them of your worth." Jasmine gave him a grateful smile. "Thank you, Uncle Ben. I had to speak up, not just for me, but for everyone who's ever been made to feel like they don't belong." Over the following weeks, Jasmine became an advocate for fairness and accountability. Her story, shared on social media, sparked local conversations about prejudice and policing, leading to positive changes within the community. New policies were enacted, promoting respectful treatment of all residents, and ensuring that officers acted with fairness, not bias. Jasmine's experience had ignited a movement, and she embraced her role as an advocate for justice. She knew that there would still be challenges ahead, but she also knew she had the strength to face them. Her story had become one of resilience, and she was determined to make a difference, not just for herself, but for everyone who believed in a world where dignity was a right, not a privilege. Thank you for watching this story to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspirational stories, and check out our other videos. There are many more stories waiting for Yo.